In all of Pokemon history, there have only been 11 Dragon-type specialist trainers, mainly because of the lack of available options in the earlier generations. The ones that do exist either have Pokemon that aren't actually Dragon-types, you know who I'm referring to, or we will only see them in the very late game where they pose no threat, as you can just Ice Beam your way through with the trusty Ice or even Water-type. Dragon-types contain some of my favorite Pokemon, as I'm sure you guys can relate, yet many of the lower stage Pokemon don't get enough attention. Instead of fixing particular trainers for different regions like some of my other videos, I'll be creating a new team for every single gym badge from 1 to 8. We'll be including everything from items to abilities so that we can build the best possible teams that fit this powerful theme. For the first few teams, I won't go too overboard so that they remain a strong but fair challenge. Don't worry, no Dragon Rages will be given to the lower level gyms and no legendaries can be used. I'm also not going to specify levels since it depends on how much XP the player will have at that point, but I'll keep them within the levels of the average Pokemon games in terms of movesets and evolutions. I also won't be using Mega Evolutions, Dynamaxing, or Terastallization to make this a bit less complicated. I'm going to try not to have many repeats on the teams so that they each have their own style and uniqueness to them while being the most balanced they can be. Let's start at the place where no Dragon Trainer has ever appeared, Gym 1. This would be really cool in reality because Dragons resist all of the starter types, so no matter what the player chooses at the start of the game, they won't have any advantage or disadvantage from other starters. I'll make a team of 2 Pokemon to introduce the trainer to basic concepts. The first Pokemon will be a Dratini with the ability Marvel Scale and an Oran Berry as its item. It will know the moves Wrap, Leer, Thunder Wave, and Twister. Its job will be to paralyze the opponent, then to wrap it to lock it in the battle. It's not too strong, but the player will have to learn how status conditions and additional effects like Wrap will work. The Oran Berry will be a way for Dratini to make up for its low stats and maintain health while the opponent tries to take it down. Their ace will be an Axew with the ability Rivalry to deal more damage to Pokemon of its own gender, and Black Glasses as its item to boost its Dark-type move power. Looking cool. It will have the moves Leer, Scratch, Assurance, and Breaking Swipe. Notice how both Dratini and Axew don't have moves that deal super effective damage to starters with a solo type of Fire, Water, or Grass. This makes it fair to the player since they can't deal stab super effective damage, but neither can the gym leader. Axew can lower the opponent's attack with Breaking Swipe, which is a nice stab dragon move in addition to its relatively basic moveset and boosted dark type move Assurance. These 2 Pokemon are perfect to face as a first challenge in any of the games, being fair for each starter while providing a challenge for them. As always, feel free to leave your ideas in the comments. I enjoy reading and replying to all of them. For the second gym, we will add 1 more team member so that we can have more diversity in the Pokemon we can choose from. But the issue with these next couple of gyms is that most Dragon types evolve so late, and some pre-evolutions are too weak to be on their own. There are still plenty of options for us to use so that we can develop the best Dragon type gym leader possible for the player's second badge. The first member of this team will be Tyrunt with the ability Strong Jaw and the Quick Claw as its item to try and outspeed the opponent in some turns. It will know the moves Poison Fang, Rock Tomb, Ice Fang, and Scale Shot. Tyrunt is a great lead as a weaker Pokemon that can still deal reliable damage, with Strong Jaw buffing the damage of Ice and Poison Fang, and Scale Shot for stab damage. Next will be Turtonator with the ability Shell Armor and the Rocky Helmet as an item to inflict some damage when a physical move is used against it. I feel like this Pokemon was underutilized in Sun and Moon, but is actually pretty cool looking and has an awesome type with great move coverage. I'll give it the moves Rapid Spin, Iron Defense, Fire Spin, and Scale Shot. With this moveset, it can be used as a tough defensive wall that needs some strategy to take down, yet it can't deal too much damage to the player as its moves aren't too strong. It's the perfect combination for a balanced second Pokemon in this fight. And finally, the ace will be a Gabite with the ability Rough Skin and the Soft Sand as an item to boost ground moves. It will have the moves Bulldoze, Metal Claw, Thunder Fang, and Dragon Tail. This is a crazy all-out attacking moveset that works well for an ace, giving the trainer one last chance to take down the player's team. The Soft Sand will buff Bulldoze, Metal Claw is good against any ice threats, and Thunder Fang can be used for coverage against water types. Overall, this second gym is looking amazing for a fun battle while being fair with a variety of Pokemon using defense, offense, and balanced movesets. If you've made it this far in the video, you must be enjoying it even a little, so consider subscribing so that you don't miss the next one, and leave a like to show some support. It means a lot. On to the third gym, where the player will be in the mid to high 20s, so we will stay at 3 team members, but now introduce some dragon types that are new for this team. We will utilize some more single stage dragons that didn't get enough love in the original games, since most first stage dragon types still haven't even evolved once yet. The lead to start off this battle will be Drampa, with Berserk as its ability to raise its special attack when its HP is below 50%, and the Citrus Berry to heal it by a quarter of its health. Its moves will be Light Screen, Swift, Icy Wind, and Dragon Breath. Light Screen will set up its special defense at the start of the battle, then it can take a couple of hits before unleashing huge damage with its ability boosting special attack paired with the stab damage from Swift and Dragon Breath. Next will be another underutilized dragon type, Dracozolt, with Hustle as its ability, which can be risky with an accuracy decrease on physical moves by 20%, but yields a huge attack boost of 50% on those moves that land. It will also have the Draco Plate as its item so that the dragon type moves it uses are increased in power. The moveset I'll give it is Aerial Ace, Thunder Punch, Rock Tomb, and Breaking Swipe. All these moves are strong for coverage and stab damage, yet it may miss every single move it uses since Hustle is its ability. And we know that in Pokemon, if a move's accuracy isn't 100%, it misses almost every single time somehow. But let's not get sidetracked by that unsolvable mystery. Their ace will be an Appletun with Thick Fat as its ability to resist fire and ice moves, and the item Leftovers to continuously recover health throughout the battle. This team needed a tank, and I think Appletun can be amazing for that while having a massive special attack stat that you wouldn't expect to see. Its moves will be Leech Seed, Amnesia, Giga Drain, and Dragon Pulse. It can double heal each turn with the Leftovers and Leech Seed, then use Giga Drain to further heal. Dragon Pulse is a nice dragon stab move to add as well that can provide the extra coverage that it needs. Here's a look at the final team for Gym 3, incorporating more strategy into the battle. The player will have a good chance to beat this team, but it won't be easy. The fourth gym is where things get interesting for the dragons, as some of the evolutions can finally evolve in the early to mid 30s. For these next couple teams, there will be more second stage Pokemon that become actually viable, so this will only get more interesting as we progress through each team. The fourth gym will now have 4 Pokemon, the first of which, who has now evolved, is our beloved Dratini from Gym 1, who is now a Dragonair, with the ability Marvel Scale like it had before, but now it has the Lumberry to remove any status conditions put on it. Its moves will be Extreme Speed, Aqua Tail, Thunder Wave, and Dragon Tail. Just like before with Dratini, this league can try to paralyze the player's Pokemon, but this time it can use Dragon Tail to switch them around so it can ensure most of the enemy is paralyzed. Then its strong physical coverage moves can chip down health as much as possible before it goes down. Next up will be a Shelgon with Rockhead as its ability to protect against recoil damage, and the Eviolite for an item to boost its already amazing physical defense and make its special defense a bit stronger. The moves I'll give it are Takedown, Rock Slide, Thunderfang, and Dragon Rush. It won't take recoil damage from Takedown due to its ability, and the rest of its moves are for coverage to try and weaken the player's team even more. Now that Dragonair has hopefully paralyzed the opponent, Shelgon's horrendous speed stat won't be as big of a problem, and we can try to tank hits while chipping away at the player. After that will be our Axew from the first gym, now evolved into Fracture, with the ability Rivalry and the Citrus Berry as its item to boost its HP when it gets low. Its moveset consists of Brick Break, Crunch, Dragon Dance, and Dragon Claw. If this thing sets up a couple of Dragon Dances and takes damage, its Citrus Berry can heal it, and it can try to sweep the player's team with its wide range of coverage against ice types and other threats. The ace of this team will be Dracovish, with the ability Strong Jaw and a King's Rock for an item to try and flinch the opponent. Its moves will be Bite, Ice Fang, Rock Slide, and Dive. Bite and Ice Fang get boosted damage from Strong Jaw, which boosts biting attacks, and Dive is a strong stab move to have. Although Dracovish isn't as broken as I could have made it in the last few gyms, I think it's a fair addition to this team in an earlier gym that is already challenging with the 3 other members present. This team has a great balance of offense and defense while being a challenge for the player as they progress through the game. Gym 5 will follow a similar theme of second stages, but now they are in the mid to high 30s, and we get to use some of my favorite fully evolved dragons as the ace of this team. Kicking off, the first of 4 members will be Tatsugiri with the ability Storm Drain to boost its special attack if it gets hit by a water move. It will have a Citrus Berry to restore its health, and the moves Nasty Plot, Baton Pass, Surf, and Dragon Pulse. This small but deadly threat will be able to set up its special attack and either Baton Pass into another special attacker or go for damage damage with its 2 strong stab moves. Next will be Vibrava with Levitate and the Wise Glasses to boost its special attacking move power. Its moveset will be special attack based with Bug Buzz, Supersonic, Earth Power, and Dragon Pulse, which can make use of Tatsugiri's Baton Pass or just attack on its own as a decent obstacle for the player to face. Despite its abysmal stats, Vibrava can still learn powerful moves that allow it to stand a good chance against many types of Pokemon the player could have. The third Pokemon to come out will be Hakamoa with the ability Soundproof and the Scope Lens to increase the critical hit chance. Its moves will be Aerial Ace, Dragon Dance, Drain Punch, and Dragon Claw. Once it sets up Dragon Dance and takes a hit, it can use Drain Punch to try and recover its hit while still dealing huge damage and outspeeding the opponent. Lastly, the ace of its team will be Altaria with Cloud 9 to suppress weather conditions and the Life Orb as an item to maximize its attack power. It will know the moves Roost, Haze, Dazzling Gleam, and Dragon Pulse. If the player decided to set up earlier in the battle, Haze can take away any stat boost of that Pokemon and give Altaria one last chance to take the win. It can use Roost to heal after Life Orb damage or just any attack with its bulky defense stats, while also dealing massive damage with the Life Orb boosting both stab moves. Also, if Tatsugiri Baton passes into this monster with its special attack boost, this thing could be devastating for the player to try and defeat while still being quite fair and fun. Looking at this whole team, I see huge potential for an awesome battle to take place where the player will need to strategize a bit so that they can earn their 5th badge. Now that we've reached the 6th gym, we're almost out of that weird second stage zone and into the fully evolved beasts that dragons become. This gym is in the low to mid 40s, where we see a couple evolutions while still utilizing other dragons that we haven't seen yet, so we will introduce an additional member to make it a total of 5. The lead for this battle will be Hisuian Sliggoo with the ability Gooey to decrease the opponent's speed stat if they use a physical attack on it, and the Eviolite as its item to make this thing an absolute tank. Its moveset will consist of Curse, Life Dew, Iron Head, and Outrage. For a lead Pokemon, Sliggoo could be a huge challenge for many players as it can set up its defense and attack with Curse while already having amazing special defense and added defense with the Eviolite. Then it can use Life Dew to recover health before unleashing an onslaught of strong attacks. If it isn't taken down quickly, the player will have a big problem that could sweep their team. Next up will be the other Applin evolution that we haven't used, Lapple, with the ability Ripen and the Lychee Berry, which is a deadly combination by increasing its attack by 2 stages if its HP is below half. Its moves to complement this include Acrobatics, Scary Face, Sucker Punch, and Grav Apple. When it first enters the battle, it can use Scary Face to lower the opponent's speed, tank 1 hit, enabling the +2 attack boost from the Lychee Berry, then absolutely obliterate the player's Pokemon with Acrobatics, which doubles in power since it doesn't have an item, and Sucker Punch if the opponent switches to another Pokemon and the Scary Face wears off. I think I may have just found an insane tactic for competitive if this hasn't been used yet, because damn, this could be seriously good. Basically getting a +2 attack and speed on the first turn if everything goes according to plan. The third member of this team will be a Cyclizar with Regenerator to heal if it switches out, and a Citrus Berry to recover health after it sets up. Its moves will be Shift Gear, Body Slam, Iron Head, and Dragon Claw. This beast will be sure to give the player a challenge if they make it past the first 2 members, as Shift Gear raises attack by 1 stage and speed by 2, so Cyclizar can outspeed and deal a huge amount of damage on any Pokemon. I gave it Iron Head for coverage against ice and fairy threats, and the other moves are stab boosted for insane damage output. The 4th member of this team will be Arctibax, with Thermal Exchange as an ability to raise attack when it's hit by a fire type move, then the Never Melt Ice to boost its ice type moves. Its moveset will be Aerial Ace, Brick Break, Avalanche, and Dragon Rush. A full-on attacking moveset is all I could really see for this member, as its learnable moves aren't too diverse for setting anything up for the next Pokemon. Its job will be to chip down at the enemy while making use of its Ice Stab Avalanche, which deals double the damage against any Pokemon faster than it. Finally, the ace will be the evolved form of the Tyrunt from earlier, Tyrantrum, with the ability Strong Jaw and the Assault Vest as an item to boost its trash special defense stat. It will know Crunch, Ice Fang, Fire Fang, and Rock Slide. These moves take advantage of Strong Jaw by using a variety of coverage moves, and Rock Slide is nice since we've had enough Dragon moves on the past 4 team members. This team is really raising the bar now with some awesome strategy and a variety of types for a fun battle. Now that we've reached Gym 7, the team can be made of some fully evolved dragons while using some late second stage evolutions that we couldn't before, since we are in the high 40s for levels now. We will stick with 5 members for this team. The first member will be Dragalge. It will have adaptability as its ability to boost stab moves even more, and the Black Sludge as an item to recover HP. Its moveset will be Toxic Spikes, Toxic, Sludge Bomb, and Dragon Pulse. These moves make Dragalge a great lead Pokemon to set up Toxic Spikes and poison the player's Pokemon, then use its extra boosted stab moves to weaken them. The second Pokemon to come out will be Zweilous, with Hustle as its ability and the Choice Band to really make this risky but deadly. If it manages to hit any of its physical attacks, the damage will be enough to one-shot most Pokemon. Its moves will be Stomping Tantrum, Fire Fang, Crunch, and Outrage. Even with the accuracy drop from Hustle, the sheer damage this Pokemon can deal is well worth it and will be sure to surprise the player. If it hits an Outrage as an example, it will have a base power of 120 plus Stab, Hustle, and Choice Band, making it a 405 base power move. Of course my math could be completely wrong, so double check that and let me know in the comments, but yeah, either way this is one heck of an attack. Next will be Dracloak, another second stage Pokemon with Clear Body as its ability to prevent stat drops, and an Expert Belt to raise the power of super effective moves. Its moveset will be U-Turn, Psychic Fangs, Sucker Punch, and Phantom Force. These will all complement the Expert Belt by being able to deal super effective damage to a load of different types. It can also U-Turn out of the battle if it needs to, allowing for an easier time finding a target that is weak to Dracloak's attacks. Second to last, a Noivern will come out with the ability Infiltrator to go through Light Screen, Reflect, and Safeguard, and it will have a Life Orb as its item to boost its attack. The moveset I'll give it is Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Air Slash, and Dragon Pulse. This is our team's special attacking beast that will be a huge issue for the player to get through with its Life Orb boosted diverse moveset. The last Pokemon to come out and the ace of this team will be Archaludon, with Stamina as its ability to raise defense when it's hit by any move, and the Leftovers as an item to heal every turn. This absolute unit will have a moveset of Swords Dance, Earthquake, Iron Head, and Dragon Claw. It can take one hit to set up a Swords Dance, then try to deal some damage with its attacking moves for a final obstacle for the player to face. Taking a look at this full team really shows the difficulty ramping up from the 6th gym with better items and stronger Pokemon to make this an ultimate fight worth remembering. Now, we've made it to the end. In the 8th and final gym, I'll be using my 6 personal favorite Dragon-type Pokemon in an effort to make a balanced team of types, attacking styles, and move coverage. This does mean that I will exclude Pokemon that don't quite fit in with the team's dynamic in terms of duplicate typing, so if you would have chosen other Pokemon, please let me know your teams in the comments. This team will consist of 6 fully evolved Pokemon that will come together as the perfect Dragon-type gym I could possibly make, within reasonable standards of course. The lead member in this battle will be Hydreigon, one of 2 special attackers of this team with Levitate as its ability and the Citrus Berry to raise its HP once it sets up. Its moveset will be Stealth Rock, Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, and Dragon Pulse. This eases the player into the battle by having Hydreigon start by setting up Stealth Rocks, but its versatile moves also allow it to just go straight into dealing damage with Dark Pulse or Dragon Pulse. Nasty Plot is a nice addition in case it sees an opportunity to set up further, eating the Citrus Berry to heal, then obliterating the player's team. Next will be a Salamence, with the ability Moxie to raise attack after a knockout, and the Life Orb to inflict maximum damage on each attack. It will have the moves Fire Fang, Earthquake, Dual Wing Beat, and Draco Meteor. Each of these moves takes advantage of Salamence's amazing attack and speed stats while being able to cover its ice weakness with Fire Fang. Its Draco Meteor trump card allows it to fire off an insanely powerful move if it runs into problems with a physically defensive wall, and will still do some great damage as its special attack stat is pretty decent. The next member of this team will be Baxcalibur, with Thermal Exchange as an ability just like Arctobax had previously, and the Assault Vest to raise its special defense stat that it lacks. Its moveset will be Dragon Dance, Iron Head, Icicle Crash, and Glaive Rush. This absolute beast of a pseudo-legendary will come out trying to weaken the player as much as possible by setting up 1 or 2 Dragon Dances before launching some deadly attacks that will cover almost any type of Pokemon it faces. I feel that Baxcalibur had to be on this team due to its unique typing being the only Dragon Ice non-legendary, and its overall stats are well balanced. Glaive Rush is a bit of a risky move, but I had to throw it on there to give Baxcalibur its signature move and more personality in this gym battle. The 4th member of this team will be a Garchomp, with Rough Skin as its ability and the Choice Band as its item. On its own, Garchomp can outspeed most Pokemon, so I felt that it was fair to give it a Choice Band in this case to make it a huge threat when it uses any attacking move. It will have Crunch, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Outrage. Each of these moves have massive damage outputs and can cover most of Garchomp's threats, even if it just earthquakes through the enemy's team. I felt that Garchomp had to be on this team over others because it's personally in my top 3 dragons and has a uniqueness to it that just needed to be on this team with its ability to learn Stone Edge and having amazing attack and speed. Next up will be Dragapult, another special attacker with Clear Body as its ability like before with Dracloak, and the Life Orb as its item to maximize its power. It will have the moves Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Dragon Darts. Having 3 strong and varied special attacks allow this Pokemon to take on any threats that the other members couldn't deal with before, and Dragon Darts makes use of Dragapult's solid attack stat in case it runs into a special wall. This Pokemon had to be on the team because of its typing and ability to be a mixed attacker, which the team lacked. Finally, the ace of this team will be my favorite Dragon type, Dragonite, with the ability Multiscale and Leftovers as its item. Multiscale allows Dragonite to take half the normal damage of an attack when it's at full HP, which the Leftovers helps to recover. I'll give it the moves Roost, Dragon Dance, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. This moveset allows Dragonite to heal with Roost back to full health where Multiscale is active, tank a hit, then use Dragon Dance over and over to repeatedly set up its attack and speed stats. After that, I gave it Earthquake to cover most threats and Dragon Claw as a consistent Dragon Stab attack that can melt the player's whole team if they aren't careful. Its bulkiness combined with Dragon Dance to increase its subpar speed stat makes Dragonite my ultimate ace Pokemon, an OG that will never let me down. If we zoom out and take a look at this entire team, you might be thinking this is absolutely broken for a casual playthrough of the game even at the 8th gym. And to that I say, yeah, you'd be right. This is basically the team I would give the ultimate Dragon Master, and maybe the gym leader that uses this takes it down a notch depending on the trainer that they're facing. At the end of the day, I'm really happy with how each of these teams turned out, each progressing in their own unique ways while using different Dragon Pokemon that haven't been used enough in the games. If you enjoyed this video, click this one since YouTube thinks you'll like it. Consider subscribing and leaving a like, it helps out a lot and you won't miss future videos. See you next time.